feel like we spend so much time talking potentially about the amps and stuff within the Fractal universe that sometimes it's easy to sort of overlook what I think is equally as good as the amps, if not maybe even better. And that's kind of using the FM3, the FM9, the Axe-Fx for their effects. So things like killer delays, killer reverbs, and also this super flexible grid. And I think one of the ways that we can justify the costs of these things is by comparing them to sort of the equivalent that you might have to spend in the real world to be able to do this sort of thing, if you could even achieve it, and thinking about setting up expensive pedal boards and stuff like that. It's easy to spend, upwards of £1,000, £2,000 on gear that will go on your pedal board, and even then not have the flexibility that you can get out of even the FM3. So this preset, basically I've got 4 scenes happening here. So this one's kind of just clean. This one I bring in the hot cake. This one I bring in the flanger. And then this one I bring in a synth. Now, this is what I was using in the introduction there. I've also got a volume pedal controlling this modifier here. It's really easy to set that up as well. I did it on the actual unit, but yeah, you basically just select the item and then click the modifier and then set it up to be the pedal. So we've got over here the Nimbus Stratus reverb. So even on economy settings, I really love these cloud reverbs. Obviously, you've got other settings that you could set it higher or lower, but since my CPU is already at 81.7, because I've got some other stuff going on here, including pitch and Plex delay, obviously you have to be a bit more careful there. So the amp that I'm using is the AC20 EF86 treble, the Morgan AC20, just stock settings, and I've paired it with Factory 2925, a Dumble cab essentially, and then I'm just splitting off here to this volume pedal, which I'm controlling with my expression pedal. Then I go into the pitch block. Now there's a setting within the pitch block called Crystal Echoes. This is something like the Strymon Ice, where you've got 2 voices which can basically shift up, certain intervals, all down. But if I bring in my expression pedal, I start to engage this path here, which has all these really cool effects on. So Crystal Echoes, I'd encourage you to check out. Other settings that I've changed here, I've panned voice 1 to the left and voice 2 to the right. I've kind of upped the delay time, 631, 821, or you could tempo tap them. And then the splice, I've set the direction forward. It could be in reverse as well, and you get this kind of thing. I thought, let's have it forward. And then we've also got a diffusion setting, so that you can use this to kind of smear the repeats. And if you smear them, just a really beautiful thing. And then I noticed that in our Plex delay, this used to just be, it used to be something like Plex delay, Plex shift, Plex verb, and maybe shimmer. There's now a bunch more. I need to check out when this actually came in, but I've got this set up to be mod wash. And if I get rid of the pitch for a second, it's basically another awesome reverb. Because we've only got 1 reverb block in the FM3, you've got 2 in the FM9 and in the Axe-Fx, but you can use the Plex delay to get reverb types of tones. You can also use it to get really, really, really cool delays. just amazing stuff by Delay Swell. Nice. Plex delay. Just sounds awesome. And then if I put the pitch back on with it, get this kind of thing. I'm just going to load it back to where it was. I actually used the FM3 on a studio session at Real World Studios with the keyboard player from Marillion. There's a longer story about that, but I used it in 4-cable method and just found it really good for that as well. So here's the hot cake. And of course, the whole time you could use your control how much you're sending into this pitch and delay. And then 3, I decided to chuck a flanger on because I think this has a really cool sound when you apply it to these long delays and reverbs. And the last thing I thought was, what about don't be shy, basically, is the advice of trying these kind of longer, more kind of weird, unconventional looking effects chains that kind of go and do different things, you know, Plex delays, pitches going into delays and flanges. There's these really cool sounds that you can get from the Fractal gear that you can really not get from a traditional pedal board without, you know, they've basically given you the keys to the kingdom in terms of effects design here. In a way that you just don't get without having, you know, an advanced editor. That's kind of the beauty of the Fractal stuff. Yes, you can stay on the basic page if you want to, but if you want to get in and really design some really cool sounding effects, you can jump into these extra pages and just start tweaking and experimenting and chaining together these things on parallel paths. Stick a volume pedal in before the effects so you can actually get a little bit of control back over the volume of this stuff, and I think you'll find there's some really inspiring stuff that you can do with this. This video is brought to you by G66 UK. If you want an FM3, FM9 or Axe 3 in the UK, that's the place to go. They don't have wait lists there, and also you have a UK service centre and no import charges, so definitely the place to go for that sort of thing. But I just really think that the Fractal, if you compare it to sort of one delay unit, one reverb unit, and then, I don't know, one modulation unit, if you think about the Strymon trifecta, you'd easily get to the price of the FM3, and the FM3 can do so much more. I think it's really kind of super impressive, and yeah, I really love it for this sort of thing. Try it in full cable method as well. I think is a good idea. You know, taking this out instead of a traditional pedal board, or particularly if you were kind of traveling and stuff, I think would be definitely preferable to, you know, pedal boards which can break over time and that sort of stuff. I'll catch you in another video soon, and oh, Gumroad will be the place to grab this preset if you want to. It's called Best Effects Going. I was just really inspired by some Blade Runner type tones and thinking about these sort of rich, ever-changing reverbs and soundscapes, and bringing in the volume pedal. Just endlessly inspiring. Cheers for now.